My wife started acting different long before I admitted anything was wrong. She'd spend more and more time on her phone, her fingers flying across the screen, a little smile playing on her lips at messages she'd quickly hide if I walked into the room. I told myself it was nothing, just work friends or a funny group chat. But silence has a way of telling the truth, and the space between us was getting louder every day. One night she came home late, really late. She didn't even bother with a real apology, just a mumbled comment about terrible traffic. But I'd already checked the route on my phone. The roads were clear, and then there was her perfume. It was a scent I didn't recognize, stronger than she usually wore. That night I finally asked her, "Is everything okay between us?" She just sighed and said she was stressed from work and needed some space. I didn't want to push, so I let it go. But the distance just kept growing. The next weekend, she told me she was going out with her friends. "Have fun?" I said, trying my best to sound cheerful and not at all suspicious. But an hour later, I got a text from her. "Hey, my phone might die soon, just so you know." My blood ran cold. She had never, not once in all our years together, warned me about her phone battery. It was a small thing, but it was the moment I knew. I just knew something was very, very wrong. I tried to distract myself by cleaning the house, scrubbing floors, organizing shelves, anything to keep my mind busy. Our dog, loyal as ever, refused to leave his spot by the front door, whining softly, as if he knew she wasn't where she said she'd be. The knot in my stomach tightened. I couldn't ignore it anymore. With a heavy heart, I walked over to her laptop. She never logged out of anything. She trusted me not to snoop. A trust I was about to break. I wish I hadn't. The moment I opened it, messages popped up from a name I didn't recognize. The words were casual but deeply intimate. They were joking about the night before. They were making plans to meet again soon. My stomach dropped. It felt like the floor had just disappeared from under me. They were talking about last night, the night she was supposedly out with her friends. She had been lying to me for months. I just sat there, frozen, staring at the screen, unable to move or even breathe properly. When she finally came home, she looked surprised to see me awake on the couch. "How was your night?" I asked, my voice surprisingly steady. She gave a short, dismissive answer and went straight to the bathroom. Her hair was messy, but not in a way that matched her story of a quiet night with friends. I didn't confront her then. I needed to think, to process, to not let my anger speak for me. The next morning, I acted completely normal. I made coffee, asked about her day. She acted normal too, which somehow felt even worse, like I was living in a play where I was the only one who didn't know the script. I quietly saved the messages, the screenshots serving as cold, hard proof of her betrayal. I waited until I was calm, until the initial shock had worn off and a quiet resolve had taken its place. Later that week, she told me she was working late again. This time, I did something I never imagined I'd do. I followed her. It felt surreal, like I was a character in a movie I didn't want to be in. She didn't drive towards her office. Instead, she parked in front of a cozy little restaurant on the other side of town. I watched as another car pulled up. A man got out, and she rushed into his arms, hugging him like she hadn't seen him in years. I felt something inside me crack. A clean, sharp break. I didn't storm inside. I didn't yell or cause a scene. I just stood there, hidden in the shadows, long enough for the reality to sink in, long enough to accept the truth that had been staring me in the face. When I got home, I had a plan. I methodically packed her belongings into boxes. Her clothes, her books, her little trinkets from our travels. I placed them all neatly by the front door. Then I printed the screenshots of the messages and laid them out on the kitchen table, a silent testament to her lies. And then I waited. She walked in smiling, completely unaware that her world was about to unravel. Her smile vanished the second she saw the boxes. "What's happening?" "What is all this?" she asked, her voice trembling. I looked her straight in the eye and said, "I know everything." Her face went pale. "It's not what it looks like," she stammered, the classic line. "It's exactly what it looks like," I replied, my voice calm but firm. She begged me to sit down, to talk about it calmly. I told her I had been calm for far too long. She tried to blame her stress at work. She tried to blame feeling lonely. She tried to blame everything and everyone except for her own choices. Trust doesn't just disappear overnight, I told her. You chipped away at it piece by piece with every lie. She glanced at the printed evidence on the table and finally fell silent. The fight went out of her. She reached out to touch my arm, but I instinctively stepped back. Can't we fix this? She pleaded, tears welling up in her eyes. I shook my head slowly. I don't think we can. Is there someone else? She asked, as if that would somehow justify her actions. No, I said. There doesn't need to be someone else for me to walk away from this. She started to cry then, saying she didn't want to lose me. I told her, you already made that decision and you made it without me. She asked where she was supposed to go. I just looked at the boxes and said, I guess you have some friends you've been spending a lot of time with. She didn't like that answer, but she didn't argue. She grabbed her things slowly, dragging out the moment as if stalling could somehow change the outcome. Before she walked out the door, she turned and asked, Do you hate me? I took a deep breath. No, I don't hate you, I said honestly. But I can't love you the same way anymore. She nodded, a final, quiet acknowledgement, and walked out. The door closed softly behind her. The silence that followed wasn't heavy or sad. It was peaceful. The house felt lighter. I sat on the couch, and our dog came and rested his head on my lap, both of us quiet. I thought about the years we'd spent together, all the memories we had made, the future we had planned. I thought about how betrayal doesn't just break a relationship. It breaks the version of yourself you became for that person. But as I sat there in the quiet stillness of my home, I realized something incredibly important. I wasn't broken. I was free.